Sorry. 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 If you're offended, sorry. 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 If you're offended, sorry.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sorry If You're Offended podcast. It is May 17th. I'm here with Drew.
How's everybody doing today? Nobody's gonna answer that.
No one's gonna say it. Tell us how they're doing. It's all right. We're used to it.
I hope everyone's holding up well out there in quarantine land still.
Yeah, no, it's been kind of crazy. I know people have been very anxious to get out there and break some rules. They're ready to. It's summertime. Everyone wants to get out there. I know we're talking. I mean,
me among them.
You what?
I said me among them.
Yeah, me too. I know you were talking about disc golfing. I was thinking about trying to go golfing soon. We should all go. I mean, just walk it.
I actually did both yesterday, which was a huge mistake. As a 32-year-old man who's been locked in the house for almost 3 months, my body is killing me today. I went to played 36 holes of disc golf, and then went and played 9 holes of golf. Did better at the disc than the regular golf, but had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And, today I am feeling it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm just tired and sore myself. Just I don't know what it is. Just out of it. But let's kick into some funny, weird stuff. I guess let's get this episode going.
Sounds good, man. Let's do it.
So I guess since we ended last week on the Joe Biden thing and weird stuff and accusations, I don't know. We're not going to get back into if we believe it or not. But did you hear? This was actually a few weeks before this, and I kind of brushed over it and wanted to talk about it and forgot about talking about it these past few weeks. But did you ever hear the Marilyn Manson and Evan Rachel Wood accusations?
I did, actually. I was reading a little bit about it, like, around the time that Westworld wrapped up. But go ahead and kind of fill us in.
Well, I didn't read too much into it, but I guess what I got out of it was before she even started, it was like he's the one that kind of got her into like the industry, basically. Like he found her at she came to a concert, I think was the thing, and he like fell in love with her, and they had like some kind of relationship while she was like super young, and then like he was like this seductive and like manipulative guy that like took advantage of her and did like these awful things and threatened to kill himself and kill her and all this stuff to keep her in the relationship. And she supposedly went and did like a thing in front of like a hearing in front of, I don't know if it was like Senate or who it was in front of, but she did some kind of hearing in front of people, but she didn't use his name, but everyone knows that's who she was referring to when she was talking about like how, you know, there are people out there that are manipulative and people need help to get out of these relationships. So I don't know if you know more, maybe you can, if you read more into it and actually.
I don't know the details of it. The article I read didn't go into the details of it, but it just kind of mentioned a history of like what you said, like mental abuse and the weird thing about it though was like that she, as you said, not just didn't use his name specifically, but like didn't want to like press charges or like I don't remember the details of it. The weird thing about it they were talking about in the article though, which is why I don't think I had too much details, was that this is coming out about Marilyn Manson, and I guess at some point he actually had a band member who was like accused of like sexual assault or like something inappropriate at some time, and he actually kicked that guy out of the band. So it's kind of like hypocritical now that this is coming out about him, you know. The weird thing to me is that anybody's surprised that something like this would come out about Marilyn Manson.
No, I mean, I feel like that was like the thing you got out of it. I don't know. That's weird for me to, not that, I didn't mean it like that, but I meant like when I always looked at him and his videos and the way like he was portraying himself, I always just figured that's who he was, you know, like he was probably some crazy guy that was, I always thought he was gay in my Like I thought he cut his penis off or something like that. I remember hearing that as like a rumor like back in the day as a kid. They like cut his penis off and he didn't have a penis
Well,
anymore, and that like
that kind that's kind of like the interesting thing about it that like I kind of take out of it honestly is like okay, so like you remember hearing something weird about that. I remember hearing like when he was real big, and we were pretty young when Marilyn Manson was real big or first started getting real big. I remember hearing that he like had one of his ribs removed so he could suck his own dick or something weird.
oh
like
yeah, that
but,
too.
like,
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
it's I mean those are all just part of the character, and that's the weird thing about it that I was going to bring up is like when you look at a celebrity like Marilyn Manson who like plays a character, you know what I mean? Honestly, like that's what it is. It's a character that he plays. It's not who he is as a person. Of course, there's like elements of that in his real life, I'm sure, but like where does that character start? And Marilyn Manson, and I don't know what his real name is offhand, but where does this person end and the character begin? You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah, like
it's a weird thing to
method
think about.
acting almost. Like he's
Yeah.
full character where he
Yeah.
doesn't know where to get out.
Well, and that's the thing is at what point, like when you're doing that for so long, when you're playing this insane character for so long in the public eye, does that bleed over to your real life and the two become one? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's insane. Oh man.
I was surprised about this because I thought maybe I'm wrong. I thought that Evan Rachel Wood was a lesbian, but apparently I'm wrong. So
Yeah, let's be honest, I didn't really like her. I never did. The only thing I liked her in was in Across the Universe. And I kind of didn't really
I mean,
even
she's
like
in
her in that.
Westworld.
Yeah, she's in Westworld, but something about her I just didn't like. I don't know. And then every character she plays like the exact opposite person and reminds me of the exact opposite person that you'd think would fall for Marilyn Manson. Do you agree with me? Like she always plays like this wholesome, but I guess that's also kind of the same exact person that would like break away to like leave that life to do something crazy and go with Marilyn Manson.
Oh, I mean, you're watching her play characters, so basically all you're saying is she's a good actress.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And there's a lot of people that you don't like when you watch them, but that's just because they're such a good actor or actress that's why you don't like them, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they're portraying their character so good that you just like, I hate that person. Like,
you believe it, yeah. I remember hearing that like about like when Game of Thrones was still real big, like some of the people who play like, the villains on Game of Thrones, like getting all kinds of hate mail and like getting people like the kid who played Joffrey, Jeffrey Gleason.
Yeah,
I think
the
is
little
his name, or Dom. What is his name? I can't remember what his name is, but he ended up retiring from acting after playing Joffrey because he was so good at being such a fucking dickwad.
yeah, then everyone
just
hated
hated on
him.
him.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
Everyone hated him. He was a piece of little shit. It's like, oh, you wanted to kill him.
And everything I've ever heard or like read about him is that he's just like the nicest dude in the world. So it's funny. I mean, hey, that's acting, right?
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got. I guess we can touch on something we've talked about. So, ironic, wasn't it AMC theaters and like Regal that were banning Universal movies and stuff? Was it AMC? There's actually now news that AMC might be getting bought out by Amazon.
Really? I'm surprised that Amazon
Yeah.
would have interest in that, honestly. That's kind of it's interesting. I guess it depends on where your opinions lie of Jeff Bezos and his power and, the Amazon machine. But it's interesting because I feel like if Amazon is thinking about buying out AMC, they have to have some kind of plan, like what we were talking about the other day or the other episode. They got to have some kind of plan to make it viable. You know what I'm saying? Something. I don't think they would be buying out AMC just to continue running it in the way that it's running now. You know what I'm saying? So
what
there's
I
gotta be
think,
some kind of
what I think is because Amazon has their own studios now, but some of their movies don't go to theaters. I don't think it's allowed to go to theaters or something. So I think this is his way to get his movies into theaters. Like the Big Sick and all these other Amazon movies that always come out. I mean, Amazon actually has some
'cause they
pretty
come out
decent
on
shows.
Amazon.
Yeah, they come out on Prime, but I mean, he might be able to do it where they are first come out not on Prime. Like they come out in theaters, like a normal thing, and then eventually gets released on Prime, like Disney's gonna do, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And then
but
then
I
he's gonna
agree,
have a
but
stake in the actual
the,
theater, and because then he's gonna get money. Then he's gonna get paid from Disney. Then he's gonna get paid from all these other people that are coming to play his movies at AMC theaters.
what's there to make people want to go to the theater to see these Amazon movies that they can watch on Prime now, though?
Yeah, I know you're right. I don't know.
That's why I said he's got to have some kind of plan to enhance the theater experience. I mean, at least I would think. Kind of makes me
Or he started
interested to know.
or he started the coronavirus, got us all cooped up in our houses and crazy, and just waiting to get out into public. And the first thing he knows that's going to happen,
Maybe.
and people are just going to flood the theaters and eat popcorn off each other's
Maybe,
bodies.
Maybe you've solved the mystery of coronavirus once and for all. Who knows? It would be interesting. You know, it would be interesting. I just had a thought. Like, what if they did do what you said, and it was like Amazon Prime content in the theater, and you could like get into the theater for free if you're a Prime member, and then they just like make money off of concessions and other shit.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And then it's like
I
a
don't know
place
if
they
that's,
turned it into like a Prime hub. So anything you order from Prime, you can like get a free movie if you order from Prime and pick it up at the theater instead of getting it delivered to your house.
Interesting.
Kill two birds with one
Interesting.
stone. You go in,
Way
you
to-
see a movie, pick up your order, get out of there.
It would be a way to get people who aren't already watching Amazon movies to watch Amazon movies, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what the plan is, though. It's interesting.
What's crazy is I can't blame them because I mean, like, I feel like certain people I mean, that's what happens with everyone with money. They get to a certain point where it's like they've accomplished everything they dreamed of, so now they just gotta like start doing crazy fucking things that make no sense because what else is there to do? Like, clearly, yes, he can donate all of his money. We could say he could do better things with his money. But his time and stuff of building like an empire, like I would be doing the same exact thing if I was him. I'd be like trying to just break into every industry because like I would just get bored. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's it. That's it 100%. Is like people say, complain about how powerful Amazon is, and like how they keep doing exactly that, like expanding what they do and stuff. Like, what the fuck else are they supposed to do?
Yeah, just
I
sit
agree with
around
you.
and wait
You're
around
making-
until they fail. Like,
You're making money hand over fist, then you might as well be investing it into something. Like,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Just keep doing other things and doing other things because you can always improve certain industries. And like, let's be honest, yes, he's overtaking some industries, and there's those rumors of him like purposely getting products to bring in, and then like he replicates those products, and then that product goes out like of business. You know what I'm saying? But he's also doing stuff where he's changed our industry. Like Walmart now does 2-day shipping. Like all these, like he's set a standard that has put all other companies on certain standards that have to kind of like follow his standards now. You know what I'm saying? Like he's changed the game.
Right. If they want to keep up, they gotta compete and offer the same thing.
Yes.
Or else they're fucked.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's weird.
Competition's a good thing.
Yeah.
I agree. It just makes everybody else have to raise their standards and be better. So, nothing wrong with that. I mean, as far as where I'm sitting, better for the consumer.
Did you hear about the Elon Musk opening his factory against California orders? He just was like, "Screw it, I'm doing it. If you have a problem, come in and arrest me. Don't arrest anyone here."
I did hear that. I like that he said that. Like, don't take it out on the workers, take it out on me. Because I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest, he's Elon Musk. Are they really gonna roll in there and arrest him? No, they're gonna serve him like a fine, a citation.
Yep.
And California, at least parts of California, is like going deep down the rabbit hole on this coronavirus stuff. And like I know that, like you said, a lot of people, I'm starting to feel like myself included, just because we're getting so much cabin fever, are like kind of getting lax on our view of things. You know what I mean? But I have heard like areas of California which have already extended the stay-at-home order for another like 3 months, like throughout the entire summer, which to me just seems
Absurd.
crazy excessive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absurd.
it's absurd. You got. I mean, at this point, you've already had people in the house since March. You got to take it like week by week. You know what I'm saying? Month by month at the most, but week by week, and get people back to work and get people back to some semblance of normal life as quickly as possible because people have a breaking point, and I think that we've seen that in other areas of the country. I can't imagine what it's got to be like there, like looking down the barrel of another 3 months without any hope of things going back to normal. You know, so
I think.
um,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say. So as far as Elon Musk is concerned and Tesla is concerned, um, I don't know what kind of precautions they're taking. I assume that they are taking precautions to make sure that their workers are safe because the last thing you want when you're pulling a stunt like this is for people to start getting sick or
Dying. Yeah.
So I hope that there are protocols in place to make sure that people are being protected. But outside of that, if people who work at Tesla want to go back to work, and they feel that it's safe enough for them to do so, then good for Elon Musk, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going back.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I keep cutting.
No,
you
keep
off.
no, keep going. Keep
I was
going.
gonna say people are going. I was gonna say people are going back to work in other areas of the country. People are going back to work here in Michigan. It doesn't mean that we have to go back full force, and it doesn't mean that everybody has to go back. But in certain occupations, I mean, cutting edge facility like I imagine that Tesla must be. I don't personally see anything wrong with starting to try to transition back to life.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say I only brought this story up because I actually read an article that was on Forbes, that says science reveals the face of God, and it looks like Elon Musk.
What? How could science reveal the face of God?
A study that surveyed 511 American Christians yielded a composite image of what the participants believed God looks like.
Oh, okay.
So they
I guess
took like
that
a
makes
survey
sense.
of like all these people's images of what he looks like, and they composite it kind of into one, and it looks like Elon Musk. I
So
just thought
do you think that that's like a weird coincidence, or do you think that people like think of Elon Musk as God?
I think it's a weird coincidence, and I also think it's very, very not a good study. I mean, you only did Christians first off.
Yeah, probably white Christians in America.
Yeah.
I think that Jesus looks like Jared Leto. Like,
No, they think he looks like Elon Musk.
interesting.
But I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, and just the fact that these are the articles that are getting printed now.
Oh, people are so fucking bored. I mean, they're looking for literally anything.
I'm just gonna send you this article, and then in this video, I'm also gonna post just so everyone can see just the picture of what he looks like. But continue. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, can you imagine like how much it's got to suck to like be a person who writes articles for anything right now, especially like if you're used to going out and like covering events and like you're just grasping for literally anything you can write an article about. So
Yep. That is true.
gotta
Which
do what you gotta do, I guess.
which is super true. Which brings me up to my next point. Here it is. This is an article that was dropped on NPR. And I was like, this is going to be a great article. I can't wait to read it. I cannot wait to like talk about this because it seems like it's going to be a really good article to talk about on the podcast this week. And it is, but for a different reason. For this Walmart employee, an angry customer was the last straw. I was like, holy shit. I cannot wait to get into this story and find out what happens.
Yeah, I'm
This
like
story is
expecting to
so
hear about a worker like losing their shit and like going on a rampage in the store or something, but I guarantee that's not what it's going to be by the way you're setting it up.
no, it's bad. So just get ready. I'll read the whole thing. It's not that long. Cynthia Murray has worked at Walmart store in Maryland for nearly 20 years, most of them as a fitting room associate. Her 61st birthday was fast approaching when the coronavirus pandemic hit and Walmart workers were suddenly essential. Murray started worrying about her health and wondered whether she should keep working every time she looked at the customers who came into the store. You could see in the customers' faces the panic, she says. Don't get me wrong, some of our customers are awesome. They appreciate us being there. But you could see the panic, and it's really eerie. Murray's daughter, too, worried about her mother getting sick from being around so many customers and advised her to stay home. But Murray kept telling herself she had bills and rent coming, it's due. Murray, who's part of the labor group, United for Respect, says the store had cut back her hours in recent years, making it harder to accumulate paid time off. So says it takes more time than a week to work to eat to earn 1 hour of sick time. But one angry customer put her over the edge. She says the man shouted and demanded access to the fitting rooms, which have been shut as Walmart tries to limit the spread of the virus. The next day, Murray went on unpaid leave. I just felt uncomfortable, she says. Whether I get paid or not, I'll just have to suffer whatever consequences.
This is on NPR.
This is NPR. That was the end of it. That's the end of the whole article. That's it. Boom. Done.
Wow. NPR is getting desperate.
That
is
was
crazy.
so bad, dude. I was waiting for
That
the
was
story.
literally.
And
yeah,
all the
that
story
literally
was
a
he just got
story
mad.
about.
Yeah, this build up just to tell me this guy yelled at her about getting in the dressing room. And she's like, yeah, I'm going on paid leave.
That story was literally about nothing.
Huh?
Had none of the elements of a story. No plot development. No resolution. No tension. It was just 14 sentences of nothing.
Yep, that's
Man.
what we've gotten to.
What a world! What a world! That's prime news on NPR. These in the world of Corona. That's sign of the times, I guess.
And ESPN is actually not much better. They're doing eating competitions. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I didn't.
What the hell was it? I can't remember exactly what they were doing, but what they were eating. But I remember whatever it was. Like it was super not healthy. And it was bologna. Bologna, dude. Big stacks of bologna.
You're doing a bologna
like
eating
fat,
contest?
Yes. And I wanted to throw up. Like just watching these guys do this.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm thinking, we're in a
exactly what I was gonna say.
coronavirus right now. These guys are eating
It's
bologna.
nauseating.
Ugh.
How much bologna did the champion bologna eater eat?
I'll look it up right now. ESPN. How do you spell Bologna?
Blogna, I think.
Bologna. Oh no, it's the city.
The city of Bologna. Where is the city of Bologna? I feel like it would be in Indiana. I don't know why.
No, it's
just
the
feel like it'd
soccer
be in
team
Indiana.
from like the country Bologna.
Oh.
I don't know how to spell Bologna. I really don't, even though Oscar Mayer taught me. Quarantine challenge qualifying Bologna. Joey Chestnut and other big eaters will star in an online 2 pounds of bologna eating contest. So it's 2 pounds. And it's so you can bet. You can bet on like FanDuel. You could bet who wins.
That's how desperate Vegas is. They need to put odds on something that is baloney eating.
Yep, they think Joey Chestnut is going to be the winner.
He probably will. That dude can eat.
Matt Stoney's second.
Stony baloney.
Yep. Oh, I mean, they got everything you can bet on too, dude. You can bet on fastest time to complete round one. You can bet slowest time. You can bet will anyone vomit. This is great.
I might have to look that up. I've been missing that element from my life since the casino's closed. So
You miss
maybe I'll look up-
gambling on things.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just gamble on baloney eating.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, this is just, we have gotten to a new level of like boredom.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh, interesting science.
Okay.
The magnetic North Pole is rapidly moving because of some blobs.
Because of some blobs.
That's what it says. Two massive blobs on molten iron in the Earth's outer core.
Well, that's just gonna feed the conspiracies. I feel like I've been hearing about the magnetic poles of the Earth are reversing
Well-
for like.
Well, yeah,
Years.
it's well, on here they show like a map. I guess I can try to throw this on our little video here too. It shows the map over the years of how much it's shifted, like where it was originally founded at in 1831 was like actually like in northern Canada, kind of, where all it looks where all that land like starts meeting the ocean and craziness.
Mhm.
And then it's just shifted completely into the middle of the ocean, and it's going closer and closer now, going in towards Russia. It's closer to Russia now than it is Canada.
Really? So it's moved pretty significantly. Then,
Yeah.
Huh?
It even
And what does this article say the implications of this happening are? Like, what effect does it have on our climate? Or
they don't really talk about it. They just talk about it shifting and why and kind of why it's shifting. These shifts have major consequences for global navigation systems.
ah,
Anyone that uses a compass
makes
from the
sense.
seas, from the ships, or smartphones in our pocket is impacted by this magnetic game of tug of war. But I also kind of think they don't say it in this article, but I almost feel like that's going to shift our climate over here. Like, you know how Russia was like the Arctic tundra for so long, like northern Russia is really bad, and then I feel like maybe we're gonna get like hit with Russia weather now. Like, since they're getting more of the pole.
dude, like, so you feel like we're gonna get more of that Arctic climate in the United
Yeah,
States?
yeah, just like lower, yeah, like us, like Michigan and Boston. Like that's why like I feel like our winters are going to be longer. You know, I think it's
It would make sense.
yeah, so it's like it's just going to switch over and they're going to kind of get more nicer weather in like mid Russia and stuff, you know, where it's usually normally cold or something.
Well, it's like one of those things that kind of something how I've always felt is, you know, people talk about like climate change and global warming and things like that, and you know, I'm not denying that global warming is a concern, but I also feel like when we look at like our understanding of the history of weather and what weather should be, like we've only been recording history for
Yeah.
for how long? You know, we've only been recording weather accurately for how long? So, like, I am a big believer that everything in this world and in this universe really moves in cycles, and that a lot of times when we look at these kind of things, the cycle that we're looking at might be bigger than our perspective. So, you know, we might look at something and be like, oh, in the last 100 years, you know, we've been seeing a sharp uptick in the temperature in the middle of August, so, you know, global warming has to be real. And maybe it's just that we're in this cycle to where we're moving along progression to where we should be, and this cycle might be longer than what we're capable of realizing, to where we're kind of like actually in the weather pattern that we should be. We just don't realize it, you know. There's no science behind this, but I think it's a distinct possibility just based on, as I said, you know, human intelligence and our ability to comprehend and observe things, and you know the details that we've took and our tools for measuring, and you know all these things coming together has only happened in a couple hundred years, where the Earth is millions of years old. You know, so if what you're saying is true and it does affect weather patterns, and you know for these poles to shift, maybe these poles moving is something that is normal and we just didn't realize it, and it does impact the weather, and it's part of that cycle because we didn't have the ability or the tools to measure and recognize it until very recently, you know.
Yeah. That's, I don't know. Yeah, it's insane. I completely agree, though. Like, our timing for a lot of our history is just so short compared to. I mean, obviously, religion and all that stuff dates farther back than most of our accurate weather readings and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, the whole global warming thing, we've talked about it before on earlier episodes. How yes, we think we do have some sort of, probably, you know, we are causing some of it, but it's not necessarily all our fault. That's a cycle that always happens. It's always going to happen. I do believe in that. I even think that, like, a lot of those religions that I just kind of brought up, you hear those stories of, like, you know, all of the stuff that's happened. I think that's part of that cycle. Like, because they talk not necessarily about weather, but they talk about, you know, weird shit. Like, we can even talk about Ice Age killing the dinosaurs. Like, that could just be, we're heading into another Ice Age that we don't even realize it. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean it's legitimately possible that there have been endless cycles of history involving some sort of sentient life that's risen and fallen that we can't even comprehend. You know, eons and eons of time, and on a scale larger than we can even begin to look at, and that you know civilizations have risen and fallen time and time again, and you know we will never know or could never know because of how long that cycle is. You know, that's a possibility, absolutely. You know, ice age after ice age and a reset on the earth when it's necessary. You know, those are the kind of things that I think that we developed science to attempt to figure out, and that they remain known unknowns despite what anybody will tell you. You know, if you look at any sort of science, you know that it's all theories. There is no concrete fact to anything because it's all based on our perception and our understanding and the tools that we have to understand whatever it is that we're looking at. So anything is possible on that token, you know. But I just think where we are right now, you're right. We've been recording history for a long, long time. If we look at you know religion and things like that, but I mean science, real science, whether you know accurate understanding of weather patterns and you know the ability to measure atmospheric pressures and things like that, you know that's relatively new in the scale
Yeah.
of human history, and definitely new in the scale of the world. So I think that weather, you know, it's something that a lot of people are infatuated with, and it's something that a lot of people like to set their watch by, and you know that they believe wholeheartedly in it. But I'm sorry to break this to a lot of people out there, but weather is not an exact science. You know, meteorologists, most of them, are not scientists.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
there is a lot of unknowns. You know, still on something that's very, very important, and that's why we see natural disasters pop up with no notice and people be impacted and lives be destroyed. You know, if we had this stuff down to where we knew it intricately, that wouldn't happen because we would be able to predict weather patterns with accuracy and be able to protect people because of that. So I think it's one of those things that we kind of ignore the fact that we don't know all that much about. We like to pretend we have more control over than we really do, you know?
No, I agree. I was just thinking because you were talking about the brought up the whole religion thing again and the weather patterns and how we didn't, you know, we didn't have that knowledge until a certain point, and it made me think, yeah, like at one point, especially back in the religious times, you know, their point of like weathermen were like, hey, let's burn some virgins and hopefully we get some rain, you know.
Right. Yeah, let's do a rain dance.
Yeah.
Let's throw a virgin into a volcano. Let's sacrifice a goat and drink its blood. Whatever it might be to appease whatever
Whatever
God's
God,
controlling
yeah.
this drought. You know.
Yeah.
Um, and we kind of do the same thing now. I mean, not to the same extremes, obviously, but you'll watch the Weather Channel and plan your whole week out based on what they're telling you. But how often are those things wrong?
Oh, all the time. I mean, there's even that good theory that the weatherman, I'm going to bring up a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, that the weatherman will purposely lie to you and tell you it's going to rain just so he can get a non-busy golf course that day.
So he can get the better. Yeah, so he can get a tee time.
Yeah. But speaking of weather and weird things of changing around the earth, this is also a cool article I read, and it affects us more. The Great Lakes are higher than they ever have been, and they're not sure what will happen next, is what the article says, but I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen next because they throw a graph on here and it.
I'm guessing flooding.
Yeah, I mean, might get a little bit of flooding, but I mean, I think it's eventually going to go down. I mean, the crazy part is that every lake right now is at its high. It's all-time high.
I'm surprised to hear that because I don't feel like we've had a particularly rainy spring so far. I mean, it's rained a little bit the last couple days here, but overall, I don't think we've had a tremendous amount of rain this.
Yeah,
this
or
season,
even
so
a lot of snow that would melt.
So what are they saying is contributing to the water levels?
I don't know, but I mean, that's us down here. They might have a shitload of rain and snow up in Lake Superior, and that might have drained into all of them.
That's true. I do kind of have a skewed perspective. I'm basing a very large state on my experience here in about 20 square miles that I've visited. So I guess that's not very fair or accurate. There are definitely areas of the state where they get absurd amounts of snow, like up towards the top of the Minton and even into the UP. So I guess that's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you are still right, though. I mean, like, just the weird thing is the lakes down here are still high.
Yeah, especially because you said they're all at maximum. So that means like even down here, like Lake Erie and stuff.
Yeah.
Which we are pretty close to.
And yeah, and the thing is that they show on the graph the last time it's that Lake Superior and Lake Huron and Michigan were high was 1986, and they were both high together. And Lake Erie looked kind of high, but Lake Ontario never really got that high. Like, it never got affected, but now because it's Canadian.
Lake Ontario smokes all the time. Not their first time,
I will throw this graph up on the video for everyone too, of the high lakes. But I just thought it was, like you said, I thought it was interesting.
It is interesting, and it's kind of funny, because I was just talking with somebody recently, and they were talking about how what is it? Is it Nestle is pumping water out of the Great Lakes now, and basically bitching about it for whatever reason. But it just goes to show you how plentiful and how much the lakes
the highest they've been.
But yeah, based on the seasons, not really having like a huge impact on our ecosystem.
Yeah, technically,
to take some water
technically,
out.
Nestle could be doing us a favor by like keeping like your beachfront property like still there. Like if
maybe. I mean, I don't know enough. I don't know enough about it. So like, it was by no means me like arguing. Or
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
because I don't know enough about it. But yeah, it could be. That's exactly what I was saying. Like, it could be like how like deer season, hunting season is a huge thing here in Michigan, and it has to be because we have such a high population of deer that if we didn't allow hunting, it would overpopulate and basically destroy the ecosystem, and we'd have deers everywhere. So it's kind of like. It's kind of like that. Maybe they're doing us a favor to keep the
levels,
keep the water levels in check.
Let's see what else we got. Ooh, House passes Democrats, $3 trillion coronavirus heroes aid, stimulus checks, and money for the states and rent assistance. We will be getting another $1,200 check, stimulus check.
Are we?
Yeah.
When? I didn't hear about this one.
This
Why?
just got passed. I hate when you post an article and you put the date at the top. I think this was yesterday or today. Friday. So, 1 trillion in aid to the state and local governments, extending the 600 per week addition for unemployment benefits, expand coronavirus testing, contact tracing and treatment, and requirement for the Trump administration to develop a national testing strategy, enhancing tax credits for employers to keep workers on their payrolls, support to help renters and homeowners make monthly rent, mortgage, and utility payments. $10 billion for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program to support anticipated increases in participation for food stamps. $3.6 billion for grants to states for contingency planning in preparation for elections for federal office. That's it. That's where it's all going.
So there's not a second stimulus then.
No, there still is. It says the Heroes Act to provide $1,200 in payments, or $2,400 for married couples with an extra $1,200 per dependent, up to a maximum of 3. But then under that, they said it also includes, and that's where I read the trillion, okay, and then the 600 extra per week and all that stuff.
We talk about all this money that they're just printing, and it's just like, I don't understand what their plan is for recovery when things do start to go back to normal. How they can continue to inflate the economy, like, with nothing to stand on, and think that it's gonna solve the problem or, help. I think basically just kicking the can down the road a little bit.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of worried about. I actually did read another article. Thought I posted it on here, but I didn't. But it was about our Fed chairman talking basically exactly about that. How he doesn't really see a good way out of this. Like, there's nothing he can really do. Like, can cut rates. He can do, what I'm saying? There's no good way to get out of this. We're going to go into a recession. It is what it is. And it's super.
I was talking to a guy. I was talking to a guy recently through work, and he is like a finance professor. He was telling me some interesting things, some really scary things that are happening around the world, to where governments have tried to do what we're basically trying to do now, and things have continued to tank, and they've continued to cut interest rates and things like that, to the point that in some countries, I believe he said Spain in particular,
you owe money.
They're actually,
if you put money in the bank,
seeing negative interest rates.
Yes.
Yeah, at 100%, to where, like, if you have a CD, instead of accruing interest, you're paying them money on a monthly basis to hold your money. Where mortgage companies, instead of collecting interest on mortgages, are literally having to pay their customers, or you deduct from their bill, money, because the interest is negatively amortizing, which to me seems unsustainable as well. And he was talking about how, we're on a crash course for the same thing, based on what he's seeing in the economy and things like what you just talked about, this puppet show of a stimulus package, and that if things continue down this road, it's only a matter of time till we get there here as well. So to me, that's terrifying, because at that point, I can't even begin to imagine what happens. Like, I can't imagine how you recover from that, how individuals who have large sums of money in the bank recover from that, how businesses continue to operate, when that's happening. I think that it's just a spiral downward towards, like, I don't want to be like a doomsayer, but like it's economic collapse.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I could think of when he was telling me about it. So it's scary, and it's getting scarier. That's for sure.
I know, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I keep trying to like. I don't want to like freak people out, but keep trying to tell people because I feel like they gotta like put that in their mind that is a huge possibility. And a lot of the people I try to like talk to about it, like, hey, if something happens, like we should do this or we should try to figure out some kind of idea, and you tell someone something, they're just like, oh, that'll never happen, blah blah blah. This is America, and this is blah 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 blah, and it's like, no, some serious shit can happen, and like
Well,
that without.
after the last 2.5 months, if anybody says that could never happen about anything here in America, then they're living their life with their head in the sand. I mean, I think that anything's possible, and I think that you know, the virus itself aside, like the impact on American life is just beginning, and nobody knows where we're
Yeah.
going, and nobody knows what this is America means anymore, because America of 2 months ago is gone. And I'm sorry to anybody who thinks that a switch is going to flip one day and we're going back. We're not going back. Life has changed
Yeah,
fundamentally.
no, that's what everyone keeps talking about. It's like, I can't, hopefully in a couple months we'll be back hanging out, going to bars, or we'll be back, doing this and this and this. I'm like, I wouldn't be so hopeful. I mean, yeah, we might get some liberties back, but those bars that you might always go to might not be open because they couldn't afford to open.
They, right, because they couldn't afford to pay rent for months
Yeah.
without making any income.
You might be
pay-
meeting up at the liquor store and going hanging out at Taco Bell because that's the only thing that made it through the damn freaking,
Right. No, I truly believe, and it's funny because one of my roommates is like terrified of the end of the world. So I'm kind of a negative person sometimes, and I like to reinforce that. I like to talk about it often because I truly believe that life as we know it is over, and I don't mean like we're all gonna die or anything like that, but our concept of American life, our way of living, has ended. I truly believe that. I don't think that we go back to the way that things were 2 months ago. If we do, it's a long way off. I think that even when things start to open up, if we hit June and we hit high temperatures and Corona disappears for a few months and things start to go back to some semblance of normal, I'm with you. I don't think that we go back to the way that things were, not for a long, long time, because even when things start to go back to normal and businesses start to reopen or try to reopen, that's when we're going to start seeing the real fallout on the economic side of things, because we're going to find out who still has a job, what companies are still able to operate, where are there gaping holes and where are there needs based on these companies that have folded in the months previous. It's scary. I don't know what happens next, but I know it's not what happened before.
Yeah. There's two things I want to bring up about this because one will go into the next topic, but I did notice about everyone like getting their stimulus checks. And I'm not going to judge what you do. Do what you want with your money, but I have seen people like they're like, "Oh, I just got my stimulus checks. I'm going to go buy this." And I'm like, you realize we are kind of like in a national disaster. I understand like you always wanted this thing. I can't say what it is because if I do say the one thing, it will definitely call out the one exact person I'm talking about. But just like buy something that it doesn't matter. I don't know. It's hard to explain. If you notice any people like just taking their money now that they're getting more money than they should have, and like, well, now I got more money instead of realizing that this is a troubling time and maybe I should save as much as I can or invest in certain things. They're just like, hey, I'm gonna go buy this toy.
Well, I haven't noticed it. Maybe because I haven't been on the Facebook for the last couple of days, but not gonna lie to you. I guess I'm kind of one of those people. I got my stimulus check. I spent it. I bought something that I wanted to buy for myself.
I bought stuff too, personal stuff. But I mean, we'll get to later. I'll tell you what it is off when we're done with this, and I'll tell you who it is, and then you'll agree with me. But that's besides the point. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I definitely do want to hear it, but like I said, I'm kind of one of those people. I bought myself a new bed, which I'm stoked about. Like the ultimate adult treat yourself. But I've also been steadily working and actually working
And that's something.
more probably because this is going on. So I'm in a
Yeah.
position better than most. So I don't have that guilt there. I definitely understand people, like if you see somebody who is not working or constantly complaining about their situation or like even asking people for help or and then they turn around, they're like, oh, check out this toy I just bought, when you can barely pay your rent, then yeah, there's a
Yeah.
question of priorities there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, your whole bed thing, I mean, that to me, that's understandable. Like, that's something that's like a necessity. Like, you need to sleep comfortable. Like,
I mean, I've had my bed since I was 16. All right, it was time for a new bed. I was gonna
yeah,
buy
it's
one way or the
exactly.
other,
That's a
so.
that's a good purchase, you know.
If you want to say the stimulus money is still in my bank account and I bought it myself, we can look at it that way. But let's be honest, I got the stimulus money. I'm still working. Like I said, my bills are paid, so I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing.
Yeah, that's a good buy. We'll talk about this off air, the other buy I'm talking about. And as soon as I seen this, I was
Oh,
like,
no.
what the fuck are you doing buying this?
Yeah, I want to hear this for sure.
So we'll actually cut this. We'll cut soon because this is the last topic I actually had. It's talks about markets. We're talking about possibly recession and all this stuff. Did you hear that Trump pulled all Chinese equities out of all federal retirement investment accounts? So if you had an account that had any investments in Chinese companies, he's pulled it. So like we're not allowed to invest in Chinese companies.
What happened to the money that was invested?
They moved it to a different American company. Like they took all the investments out of the Chinese companies. So like it's another like attack on China personally. So it's like as we're like in this middle of a war, we're in another still trade war like argument with China with Trump. So it's just something I had to throw out there that was still going on.
Is that like through like people's 401k accounts? You said federal retirement accounts, so I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, like like 401ks, IRAs, all those kind of things, like any kind of account any kind of retirement account you'd have. And basically
That's
you
crazy.
invest
I'm
your money
actually
into it and
surprised-
then they take Go ahead.
I'm actually surprised that people aren't more outraged that's not bigger news, because I know that like a lot of people have lost a lot of money in their retirement accounts through this whole thing. So now that Trump has got his fingers in there, like directing what you can invest in, which is insane to me, on a very, even just a personal freedom level is insane to me. I'm surprised that people aren't more pissed about this, to be honest with you.
So most people probably don't even know, and if they do know, they're probably a lot of the people are probably so right-winged and so pro-Trump, they're probably like, oh, this is all because of China, this whole coronavirus, China, fuck China, and they're just like on this. Maybe that was the whole point of coronavirus, dude, to pull us out of China.
Maybe I feel like I
Maybe
mean,
coronavirus is the busted condom.
maybe I'm ignorant, but like I feel like we have to maintain some level of a partnership, like trade partnership with China. I feel like we manufacture everything there and we buy everything from there. Like, what happens if that just ends? Like, I can't even begin to imagine. I feel like that would have the opposite effect on the economy if American companies had to start picking up the slack. For us ending this partnership with China, for pennies on the dollar. It's going to drive wages down. It's going to drive cost up. It's stupid. I mean, at least it seems stupid. I'm by no means an expert in economic matters, but seems dangerous.
No, I completely agree. All right. Well, everybody, this has been a great episode of the Sorry If You're Offended podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please go follow us on our Anchor podcasting platform, or on our YouTube, or our Facebook, or our Instagram, or our Twitter.
Or on Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, or any of the great places that you love to listen to podcasts.
Yeah. Or yes. And please leave us some love and leave us some hate. That's the one thing I'm really upset about. I need some hate in my life, guys. I need you guys to tell me how awful I am and how stupid I am and how unsuccessful I am. Give it to me, baby. Come on. Give it to me. Where are all you haters at?
The man's asking for punishment.
I am. Come on.
But no, we definitely appreciate anybody who's been hanging out with us and riding out this whole insane last couple months, and we're looking forward to continuing to make our way through it on a week by week basis, because who knows when it's going to end at this point.
Yep, that's true. Maybe, I don't know, let's try to get another guest on here either next week or real soon. And I donated for us last week, so we did donate last week. Where are we going to donate this week, I guess? Should we donate to like a coronavirus relief, or should we donate just to like some like animal shelter? Because I love animals.
What do we talk about this week? I guess we should donate to coronavirus. No, let's do the animal shelter. I like animals too. I'm looking at my dog sleeping on my bed, and he's adorable. So let's go with an animal shelter.
All right, we'll do Michigan, Michigan Humane. Yeah, Michigan Humane. All right, look out for that. We're gonna post that with our video, the link. You guys can also donate, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us. I'm Scott.
And I'm Drew.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. I forgot how to end the show.